Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Po, and today I'm doing my TBR for Lovember, which is a romance readathon run by Becca at ReadBecca. I'll link her announcement video down below. That is going from November 17th through 30th, although I'm probably going to read for the entire month of November because I'm just so excited to pick up a bunch of romance. I participated in this last year as well, and it's just such a great excuse to pick up all those romance books I've been meaning to get to. Becca has come up with like a really great set of prompts. She has like a tic-tac-toe board with all of the different prompts in different categories. So I will go ahead and tell you about the books that I've got kind of owned and checked out so far from the library, but I'll probably pick up other things as we go along as more holds come in for me. But this is kind of my starting TBR at least. So first, let me go over the books that I own and therefore are very high priority for me to try to get to. Starting with the StandUp Groomsmen by Jackie Lau. This is a brand new release, just came out at the end of October. That is the sequel to Don't Fall in Love. I've got a review for Don't Fall in Love, so I'll link that below. And this basically follows the friends of the couple from the first book as that first couple is getting married and they're sort of thrown together, even though they had a really rocky first meeting. The hero in this is a stand-up comedian, and he sort of judged the heroine because she works in like corporate finance rather than, you know, having a job following her passion in art. But as they're thrown together, they get to know each other much better. So I love Jackie Lau's contemporaries. She does amazing work. There's always a lot of family and food and excellent things. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And this satisfies the prompts of hate to love, celebrity, contemporary, and forced proximity. Next is Saffron Ali by A.J. Demas, which is the sequel to Sword Dance. This is a kind of historical fiction romance, except that it's set in a secondary world that's kind of inspired by ancient Rome, things like that. So it's not the real world, real history, but inspired by historical stuff. So I really like that. This is about an ex-soldier, Demiskos, who ends up in the previous book coming into contact with Varazda, who is a sword dancer. And Varazda is basically somebody who is this, you know, artisan, but also is somebody who's generally a spy. And in the previous book, they kind of solve a mystery together. And now Demiskos is going to visit Varazda's home to get to know his family and kind of spend more time with each other. But of course, there's like conflict with getting along with the family, and then there's also a murder mystery that happens. And this satisfies the prompts of historical. Then I've got a couple of Talia Hibbert's backlist books, starting with The Roommate Risk. So this is a contemporary that is friends to lovers. So we have Jasmine, who is somebody who's very much into sex, but not into relationships. She just does not do relationships. And her friend Rahul, they've been friends for almost a decade, is someone who totally was interested in her, but realized early on that he'd rather just have a friendship with her rather than just be somebody who's temporarily in her sphere and have sex and then be gone. And so they've been friends for quite a while, but a lot of those feelings sort of bubble up again when Jasmine ends up needing a place to stay after her apartment gets flooded in a plumbing accident. And so, you know, sparks fly. This satisfies the prompts of contemporary, red on the cover, and forced proximity. The other Hibbert backlist is Guarding Temptation. This is a sort of another friends to lovers story that is about a woman who is a political activist, and she writes an article that gets a lot of people riled up, and it seems like she's going to be in a little bit of danger. So her older brother's friend ends up kind of acting as her bodyguard, and this is a guy that she's had a crush on for a while, but he very much sees her as his friend's little sister and kind of off limits. But you know, obviously they get together and things happen. So this satisfies the prompts of contemporary and forced proximity. Then I've got a bunch of library books checked out. All of these are 2022 releases, and pretty much all of these are ones that I have picked up because they've been recommended by other booktubers, starting with The Standin by Lily Chu. So Olivia-Savannah at Olivia's Catastrophe recommended this because like she knows my taste, and she's like, I think you will like this one. So I'm really excited. This is basically about Gracie, who ends up running into a Chinese movie star, Fang Li, who who looks identical to her. And Fang Li says, hey, can you please be my double and stand in for me? I got some other stuff to do. I'll pay you. And Gracie is kind of like, well, you know, I just lost my job and my mom has medical expenses, so okay. But that puts her in a lot of close contact with Sam, Fang Li's boyfriend, and again, sparks fly. This satisfies the prompts of contemporary and forced proximity. Next is A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. This is a book that Angela at Literature Science Alliance has more than once recommended that I pick up because she knows how much I love fantasy romance, and this has like a lot of political machinations. It's about two noblemen from differing countries who end up needing to marry each other because of political alliance reasons, and then they're also dealing with like some maybe kind of murder mystery type things in the background, which sounds very much my style of story. Although she has warned that there is a chapter in this, chapter 2, which she recommends skipping because it's a little bit graphic. There's a rape scene. So if you picked it up as well, be aware of that. And she said, just skip chapter 2, you'll be fine. But I am really interested in this. It really sounds like the sort of thing that I would love. And it satisfies the prompts of fantasy and red on the cover. Then I've got West Side Love Story by Priscilla Oliveras. This is a book that I heard about from Cynthia at Book Whimsy, who I will link below. And this is the first book in the Queens of Mariachi series, which is a series of contemporary Shakespeare retellings focusing on mariachi bands, which is just like the best description ever. So this book is basically a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, and we have two rival mariachi band families, the Capuletas and the Monteros, and we follow a son and a daughter in each of these who end up kind of like starting a thing together, even though their families are participating in sort of like a rival bands competition. It sounds like it's just going to be so much fun, and yeah, I just really want to pick this one up. This satisfies the prompts of Hate to Love and Contemporary. Next is Bet on It by Jody Slaughter. This is something that I heard Kazen at Always Doing mention, although I don't think she's read it yet. But it just sounded like a really neat contemporary that is about a guy who's going to visit his grandmother who is ill, and his grandmother has a bingo partner who is a much younger woman that he ends up making a bingo-based sex pact with. And like that line right there is one of those like, what are you guys doing? So it just sounds like it's going to be a really fun and cute contemporary. So I'm interested in giving this one a shot. This satisfies the prompts of contemporary. And lastly, I've got What Souls Are Made Of by Tasha Suri. This is probably the most likely book for me to DNF, but I just really want to give it a shot. So this is a YA retelling of Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights is a book that I, throughout my life, had tried to pick up multiple times, and every time just put it down after a chapter or two. And in my adult life, I have heard details of Wuthering Heights that make me think this is absolutely not my style. I don't like drama, I don't like over-the-top things, etc., which is very much Wuthering Heights. But this is Tasha Suri, and Tasha Suri is one of my favorite authors, so I want to at least give this a shot and see if it works for me. I think also that this is going to be really interesting. It is set in the historical period, but she has changed it up so that Heathcliff is Indian and Catherine is Indian and British. And so she's going to be talking about a lot of really interesting social and cultural and political issues within that historical context, which makes me think it's going to be such a neat book. I'm just hoping that there isn't as much melodrama as it sounds like the original has, but we shall see. This satisfies the prompt of red on the cover and historical. Okay, so those are the books that I am hoping to get to in November for the Lovember Readathon. Again, I'll probably pick up some other things. I may not get to all of these, but I'm just really excited, and I think I'm just gonna start immediately reading these because I'm so in the mood for romance right now. If you guys have read any of these, if you're planning to participate in Lovember, or if you know of any other really great new release romances that I should be trying to get my hands on, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just leave me a comment down below.